الله أكبر حي على الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر حي على الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر حي على الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر حي على الصلاة الله أكبر.
It's our third banquet. Now last year we had one, and after that last banquet, we all went out into the communities and we did some things for the communities. Because we live in a time now, brothers and sisters, to where we gotta stop just talking all the time. Right. It's time for us to actually put our hands behind the plow and do something. Right. So all of these wonderful speakers that you see here this evening, they're all members of organizations that are putting in work. We got the BARTON County Circle of Advancement. We got New Order for Human Civil Rights. We got New Era at 9. We got the Moorish Science Temple number 19. We got the UNIA. We got the Hebrew Israelites, Nation of Islam. We got the United Sabians. So we got a lot of brothers over here today who have been putting in a lot of work in the community. And before we get started, I would like to give you all just a brief background on how the Unity Banquet came about. About 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, when Minister BARTON was pushing the Justice of Else 10-10-215, I was saying to myself, what can I do to help the minister? And pushing 10-10-215. And we was dealing with the issue of black-on-black crime. We was dealing with the issue of gang violence. And we also was dealing with the issue of police brutality. So we were like fighting a war on two fronts. So I said, well, let me come up with some unity rallies. And this was before I joined the Nation of Islam. I was with the Hebrew Israelites for 6 years before I joined the nation. But I've been going Brother Stanley and Moscow 15B for like 12 years. So at that time, there was like the Brady Center. So I went to Brother Stanley and I said, Brother Stanley, can we do a unity rally? He said, of course not. Of course. I mean, of course not. He said, of course we could. And our purpose was, what can we do as a community to help stop black-on-black crime and gang violence? Because we believe that judgment starts at the sanctuary. We all say that we gotta go get our people, but if we see the Bloods and the Crips divided, we see the gangster disciples and the vice lord divided, how do we get them to come together if they see the Moors going up against the Hebrews? They see the Muslims going up against the Christians. So we can't be divided in the house, we gotta be united in the house. So if we unite in the house first, it's more easier for us to go get our brothers and sisters. So we did several unity rallies. And then we had other people come along. The first one was the Hebrew Israelites and the Christians and the Nation of Islam. The second one was the Moors, the Hebrew Israelites, the Christians, and the Nation of Islam. And last year, we added the United Sabians. Some know them formerly as the Nuwaubians. We had the New Black Panther Party. And this year, we got more additions. So I was talking to my partner, Sister Carmelita, one day, and I was saying, Sister Carmelita, what can I do to make these unity rallies more better? You know, at the next one, I want to have some food and some entertainment and some music. You know, black folks, we got to have some music and some food. We got to. So she said, we just started turning into a unity banquet. So this is how the unity banquet came together. And we're going to be sharing some information with you about some accomplishments that we have made in the community since the last unity rally. So, before we get started with the speakers, we would like to get started with some entertainment at first. Because once again, it ain't a party for black folks without no entertainment. We like to sing, we like to dance, we like to eat, we like to have a good time. That's just our nature. Ain't nothing we can do about that. So we're going to have one of our sisters who's going to come up and open up the program by doing the Black National Anthem. The Black National Anthem. They got theirs, we got ours, right? So let's show our sisters some love and some respect and give her a mighty, mighty, mighty thunderous round of applause as she comes up and does the Black National Anthem. So please put your hands together for our sister Nigel as she comes up to do the Show us the love.
Lift every voice and sing to the fifth heaven. Rings with our harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise higher than listening stars. Let us resound loud as the roaring sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun, a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stormy the road we trod, bitter the casting rod. Come from the days when hope had sadly died, but at a steady beat from a weary beat comes a day where our fathers had sighed. We have come from the days when the tears have been watered. We have come from the days of the path of the slaughter. Out of our gloomy past to a new day at last. Come from the day where our star is cast. God of our weary tears, God of our silent tears, the who has brought us this far away. Though thou hast brought, lead us into the light. Keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stay from our God which we met thee. Shadow beneath the hand where we stand. Stay true, true to our God. From the day we stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you. I'm definitely nervous, mainly because I feel underdressed. Y'all clean. Let me take this up. Alright, so my name's TODD, and I'm the president of a nonprofit called the Circle of Advancement. We operate out of Bartow County. And I don't know if y'all know much about Bartow County, but it's a small community. It's about 10% black. The other 70% is about white, and the rest is Hispanic. To tell you a little bit about my organization, the Circle of Advancement was started out as just a toy drive. Me and some of my friends from college, we all was born and raised in Cartersville, but we went off to college, and we saw that kids needed, those families that needed things for Christmas that they couldn't afford. Xboxes, things that, that we grew up with that they couldn't get. So we started with the toy drive. And then we went on and we saw that there was another void because our kids couldn't get the proper school supplies they needed. So we started a back to school drive where we helped almost 200 kids in our community. But the biggest void of all was the gap between the generation, the younger generation, and the leadership. The baby boomers couldn't reach Generation Z. They couldn't reach the millennials. So to fill that need, we started a mentoring program. That mentoring program started in our Boys and Girls Club. We started there, and it stemmed into our school system. So we got 3 school systems in Bartow County. We got a private school, we got the county school, and we got the city school. We wanted to make a point to have black representation in each school system because we're underrepresented. So our kids have a sense of not feeling like they belong because you're in a county where it's 10% white, and your teachers make up 6% of the entire school system. So we made a point to make sure that we had black representation in each school system. And luckily today we have close to 50 mentors in each school system. But that alone opened doors for us to set the standard of excellence amongst ourselves, our students who we assist, and those teachers that don't look like them. Because now they know that they got black representation outside the school system who's not going to settle for anything but excellence. Right. The 3 things that we emphasize in our program is safety, belonging, and accountability. Safety, that you can come to us, talk about your traumas, talk about your success, and it won't leave, and we'll support you, whether you're right, wrong, or indifferent, but you'll have that support. You can count on that support. The second is belonging. We know how important identity is amongst the black community. You gotta know who you are, you gotta know whose you are. So with that, we set the standard with identity, then we build that confidence, which brings belonging. And the next is accountability, because you won't be a kid forever. And people are gonna, and you gotta hold yourself accountable for everything you want in life. So if you want this, you gotta hold yourself accountable and do the work to get to that point. All right, look, I'm a little nervous now, so I had to get my notes together real quick. I got that real quick. But mentoring gave us our start. Mentoring is the core of what we do. But in a small town like Cartersville, it forced us to grow up fast. So we broke off the mentoring. We put together 2 smaller nonprofits just for that. Now we have a seat at the table for everything black in Bartow County. Go ahead. All right. So we're meeting with people and helping them. We're meeting with young businessmen and women to help buy back our neighborhoods. We're training men and women to serve for local government and state government because we know how important black representation is when we see each other. You know what I mean? We'll get out the vote if it's a person of color. You know what I mean? All right. We're hosting different. Now we understand that we have to unify amongst each other, but in a county like that, we gotta unify with everyone. So we're trying to bridge those gaps with the white people and the Hispanics that come together for the betterment of our community. Brother Gerald and Brother Gerald Rose, they've been a part of our men's talk. So the Circle of Advancement is a group of young people who's adamant about uplifting and shaping our community to reflect our truth and our history and our excellence. I can assure you that we will continue to grow and do our part. And hopefully, I would love to see a Circle of Advancement in Atlanta or a Circle of Advancement in Marietta. Right. We'll get to that point one day. That's right. But we'll do this. We'll do our part facing any deterrent with the spirit of Frederick Douglass, who said, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. That's right. I believe that. So we will advance, and we will advance as one. In closing, this is the 3rd annual Unity Banquet, and while I was preparing to speak, I read close to 8 to 10 articles talking about how the black community isn't unified, how we need to unify. From what I see today, I think we are. I think we're unified, and I think the celebration is the core of things like that, of unification. So, for me, in closing, I just want to tell you all to stick together, love your brother and your sister, and know that love will sustain you. This unity is weakness. Thank you for this opportunity.
Please repeat after me. It's not slavery, it's segregation. It's not segregation, it's discrimination. It's not discrimination, it's intimidation. It's not intimidation, it's incarceration. It's not incarceration, prejudice. It's not prejudice, it's poverty. It's not poverty, it's unemployment. It's not unemployment, you catch hell at your employment. Hello? First of all, I'm not a stranger in this mosque. I'm not a stranger of the nation business. A little bit about myself. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. My dad, at the age of 80, is still a freedom fighter as we speak right now. He's trying to get a street in Valdosta, Georgia, named Barack Obama Boulevard. Now, this is South Georgia. And at the age of 80, he almost got arrested, so this is where I get my drive from. You know, house and church was put on fire growing up, death threat calls, so it was not easy. This is not a game, especially when you're trying to change people's lives, right? If you're real about it. One thing about me, if they talking about you, that means you're doing something. They ain't talking about you, you ain't doing nothing. Obviously, people talking. Hello? I love when they talk. I have a national human rights organization. We had this quote, not I, but we. I got to recognize some of my staff members to the right over here, to the table, because I cannot do this by myself.
That's right. That's right.
I cannot do that. You know, I do a lot of traveling, but again, it's all about solutions. You probably seen the news the other day where the officer was beating a woman in the store to carry out. I didn't just sit on Facebook just looking at it, whatever. I was a part of the solution. And when Michael Thurman, I said, Michael Thurman, you need to do something. It took over a year, the officer was indicted. I don't just be out here just protesting and rallying, just want to be seen. I get inside them doors, because my dad taught me quite well. You got to get inside these doors. Do I sell out for no one? No. One thing I would say, ain't no white man go buy me, ain't no black man go boss me. Period.
That's right.
Because I take it very, very serious. One thing about the organization, we're moving. I had a chance to speak on the Sandra Bland case. Matter of fact, in 2 weeks, I'm going up to Ohio. I'm co-sponsoring a basketball camp for the less fortunate. Also, I'm going to stop in Dayton, Ohio. You heard what happened in Dayton, right? Got to hear about the tornado just like Katrina? First of all, they don't care. We don't care about our circumstances. I'm going to stop in Dayton, Ohio, and just meet with the chief of police. He don't even know who I am, but I'm coming to his door. Because we got issues going on there. You know, things like that. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I got to give a shout out to Minister Sharif. I'd have been to Winfield, Louisiana, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, strange territory. I missed one phone call, so his area code 713. I need you. And the nation showed up for security.
That's right.
It ain't all about religion, we black first. You got to get off the religion, we black folks first. That's what I believe. But we got to work together. So when Gerald called me, it's all about unity. You know, he's like a brother with me. You know, things like that. So pray for me as well, because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. But God is good. Like I said, I got some cars back there. We also go inside the Atlanta Mission, the Georgia Works Evolution Center. I go inside of RYDC. I mean, we're doing things, but we need help. We look for guest speakers. Again, it's not I, it's we, because we all in this together. And also, to all our young people, put down the pistols, pick up the pencils, because another victim dies, another mother cries. That's going, I'm addressing our issues right now. How can we fight the enemy? We fight ourselves.
Right, absolutely.
Seriously. We get all upset, which we need to be upset, but then we killing each other. The young people is our future. And one last thing I'm done. I went to New Orleans a couple of years ago. I don't know if you heard of the Fifth Ward. See, one thing about me, my dad gave me courage. If someone looked like me, I'm not afraid. It doesn't threaten me. And I was in New Orleans, I said, I was riding with a guy from New Orleans, I said, stop the car. He said, man, we ain't stopped. I said, stop the car. Stopped the car, got out, started speaking to some young brothers. And after the conversation, he said, bro, I don't know who you is. I don't even speak to people in my city. I might can't be on Facebook, I might can't be in front of the camera. Whenever time you come back to New Orleans, I got your back. It was that easy.
Yes, sir.
Remember back in the day, we used to love our people, our neighbors. We were afraid of each other. I was taught very well. It's called old school.
Yeah.
You got to save our children, y'all. God bless you all. Again, New Order for life. You know, we got to be doing this. I know me personally. I'm doing this to the man called me because we ain't promised tomorrow. So don't just be no dead rock just laying around. Do something. God bless you all. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That's the Arabic greeting. It means Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. We thank the Creator for protection, help, guidance, and courage. And we ask you to continue to watch over us as well as our friends, family, and loved ones. Greetings, brothers and sisters.
Greetings, sir.
I want to first start by thanking Brother Gerald, as well as Brother Stanley, and the members of Amun Ma'at 15B for hosting this event and allowing us to have this gathering. One of the many things I've learned from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is that there is no title greater than that of brother. And because of this, I go by the name of Brother John. I'm the third Vice President for Division 421 here in Atlanta. Division 421 is the official local chapter of the UNIA-ACL, or the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Let me stop now and address one of the biggest objections that we have when we're talking with our people about the UNIA, and that's the term Negro. We know that we have taken on several names in regards to our race, from Negro to colored to African American to Moorish American, black, among many others. We feel that we have the ability to decide what we call ourselves, and we'll do that once we regain power. The name that we call ourselves is not as important as our unity. But as I will share later, we must understand that there was a time that we had to fight for the title of Negro. And that is a part of the history that we in the UNIA choose to acknowledge. In Atlanta, Division 421, we currently serve under the leadership of the 11th President General, the Honorable Michael Duncan, who is the current successor of the founder of the organization, the first President General, the Honorable Marcus Ma'at Garvey. This organization was created by Marcus Garvey and his wife, Amy Ashwood Garvey, in Jamaica in the year 1914 for all Africans, those at home and those abroad. Division 421 has been in existence here in Atlanta since 2009, and the UNIA will celebrate 105 years of existence on July 19th of this year. Today I'm here to share with you something that took me over 30 years to understand. I believe we're all aware of Marcus Garvey, the red, black, and green flag, and the UNIA as an organization. But what I wish to share with you today is how these three are interwoven to become one. For us, the UNIA is the holy trinity of black nationhood. As a Christian, I was taught that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost were one. As a Garveyite, I've learned that the red, black, and green flag, the UNIA, ACL, and Marcus Garvey himself were one. At Division 421, we believe one of the best ways to represent the UNIA is to share the foundation of the organization and the accomplishments that our ancestors have made throughout history. And I would first like to share with you the 11 aims and objectives of the UNIA. Keep in mind that these aims and objectives were written during the founding of the organization in 1914. Objective number 1 is to establish a universal confraternity among the race. Confraternity is another word for brotherhood or collective. As Garvey would say, one for all and all for one. It is our responsibility as members of the UNIA to rebuild the one body of our race throughout the world with the exception of none. Marcus Garvey says, quote, "Every Negro's interest must come first in all things of humanity. Not until we have served every Negro in the world should we seek to be kind to others. Charity begins at home, or as we say today, race first." Objective number 2 is to prompt the spirit of pride and love. Garvey says, quote, "It must be the mission of all Negroes to have pride in their race, to think of their race in the highest terms of human living, to think that God made the race perfect and there is no one better than you, that you have all the elements of human perfection and as such you must love yourself." Objective number 3 is to reclaim the fallen. The fallen implies those that have become victim to alcohol or drug abuse, homelessness, sexual confusion, the victims of the Ma'afa and the system, among other concerns. Garvey tells us that, quote, "Wherever a member of your race is down, pick him up. Whenever he wants genuine help and you can help him, do so. Never leave him stranded and friendless." Objective number 4 is to administer and assist the needy. It is to be our highest purpose in life to assist the needy members of our race. And we must use all influence and power in this endeavor. Objective number 5 is to assist in civilizing the tribes of Africa. Our ancestors knew that Africa was the motherland and therefore the natural home of our race. Garvey writes, quote, "One day, Negroes hope to look to Africa as the land of their vine and fig tree. It is necessary, therefore, to help the tribes who live in Africa to advance to a higher state of civilization. It is the Negro who must help the Negro." End quote. Garvey envisioned a new Africa capable of being the home of all black people. Africa should have no need to receive aid from anyone but her own children. Africa has populated the entire world, and she continues to provide the world's resources. Objective number 6 is to assist in the development of independent Negro nations and communities. Our goal is not to only have one nation, but to combine these independent nations into one great racial empire. Every community in which we live should be developed and owned by us so that we have control of that part of the community.
That's right.
Garvey felt that we should concentrate our numbers so that we have strength to do business, to work with the government, and to voice our rights as citizens. We as members of the UNIA consider this a positive form of segregation. Objective number 7 is to establish commissionaries or agencies in the principal countries and cities of the world where the representation and protection of all Negroes, irrespective of nationality. This means that there should be a representative in every city that our people live that can look after our interests. Their position is that of an ambassador of the nation. They must be aware of all things affecting our people and see to it that no one is taken advantage of. Objective number 8 is to promote a conscientious spiritual worship among the native tribes of Africa. Our ancestors were aware that there were many different religious beliefs among our people, but they also believed that we should be brought under the influence of one religion and the belief in one God. Hence the motto of the UNIA is one God, one aim, one destiny. Objective number 9 is to establish universities, colleges, academies, and schools for the racial education and culture of the people. Our ancestors felt that we should not be satisfied with the educational system of the white man, which is devised by him for his own purpose and to lead others to obedience to his system. And even in 1914, our ancestors knew that we should not only have our own schools, but we should have our own system of education. We must be taught our own history, and we must write our own books. Garvey said, quote, "The white man's books laud himself and outrages the Negro," end quote. We should not be satisfied with the college education from white schools, but should add to this schooling of our own, which glorifies our race. For the white man's system glorifies the white man.
Right.
Objective number 10 is to conduct a worldwide commercial and industrial intercourse for the good of our people. This implies the need to be able to create and consume goods we produce or require on a consistent basis. Garvey says, quote, "The economic life of the Negro is important. He is to live by eating, wearing clothes, and living in a home. These are essential. These are the things, to get these things, he must work, either with his hands or with his brains," end quote. It is necessary that we build an economic structure strong enough to provide for all of our people throughout the world, requiring the aid of no one but ourselves. Finally, objective number 11 is to work to better the conditions of all Negroes in any community. This is a catch-all for anything that was not mentioned specifically previously. We have a responsibility to do everything we can to improve the conditions of our people. Garvey tells us, quote, no stone should be left unturned. There is always work to do in this respect, end quote. Those are the 11 aims and objectives of the UNIA that were established by our ancestors in 1914. And in 2019, I can tell you today that those are still the aims and objectives of the UNIA ACL today. Now I would like to briefly discuss with you one thing that we believe to be one of, if not the greatest accomplishment that our ancestors achieved. And that is the events that took place during the first International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World in August 1920. We must first understand that our ancestors worked from sunup to sundown in New York City from August 1st to August 31st. These are all of our ancestors. These were individuals coming from different parts of the world that probably never met each other before this time. They were able to put aside any differences they had and work together successfully every day for a month. They were not only able to work, but live, eat, sleep, travel, and sacrifice together for 31 days consecutively. And as I said, from sunup to sundown. According to international law, there are 5 requirements to establish a government in modern time. Modern time is considered the last 1,000 years, and this is exactly what our ancestors did in August of 1920. The first requirement to establish a government is to hold a plebiscite. A plebiscite is a public declaration by the people. On August 1st, 1920, our ancestors held a plebiscite at Madison Square Garden that consisted of over 25,000 of our people. Our ancestors expressed publicly their desire to be a part of their own government. The second requirement is a declaration. On August 13th, 1920, our ancestors introduced the Declaration of Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World. This was a public declaration that consisted of 12 complaints and 54 declarations of rights. As I said previously, our ancestors had to first fight to be called a Negro. Declaration number 11 says, quote, we deprecate the use of the term nigger as applied to Negroes and demand that the word Negro be written with a capital N. On declaration number 53, we declared that the 31st day of August shall be an international holiday for black people to commemorate the forming of the government. So on the 31st day of August every year, we celebrate our Independence Day. And the declaration number 39 was that the colors of the Negro race shall be red, black, and green. Which brings us to the third requirement to establish government. The third requirement to establish a government in modern time is to have a flag. On August 15, 1920, Marcus Garvey introduced the red, black, and green flag to the world. We all carried the red, black, and green flag, but we can't separate the flag from the UNIA. That's right. We have to recognize that this flag is the flag of our ancestors, and they created it for us. This was the first flag to represent a global government. The red is for the blood. Although we may have different complexions on the outside, it is the same blood that runs through all of our veins. We have a common ancestry, and it's the blood which binds us, not the hue of our melanin or the landmass on which we were born. The black is for the skin, the melanin of the original black man from whom we all descend. And the green is for the land of the original man, the land from which some of us were taken, and the land which has been divided by the colonizers, the motherland of Africa. The fourth requirement is a constitution. The first constitution was produced by the UNIA in 1918. And I have one copy here. This is one of maybe 10 original constitutions that exist in the state of Georgia. The Constitution was last amended in 1938, and we are currently working as an organization to release the amendments for 2020. The fifth and final requirement is recognition from other governments. Dr. Tony Martin wrote a historical summary of Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association in his book that he titled Race First. Dr. John Henry Clark described this book as, quote, as close to a definitive study of Marcus Garvey as we have seen, end quote. In this text, Dr. Martin documents that there were 271 branches of the UNIA outside the United States. And we are aware from the aims and objectives of the organization that these branches consisted of embassies and ambassadors to their respective countries. Dr. Martin writes, quote, no area of significant black population in the world was without a UNIA branch, end quote. So, my brothers and sisters, in conclusion, this is what we represent here at UNIA ACL Division 421 in Atlanta. We represent the original 11 aims and objectives that our ancestors established in 1914, and we represent the government that our ancestors established in 1920. We believe in self-reliance and self-governance, and as such, we feel that we have an obligation to uphold and strengthen the government because this is what we will pass down to our children for them to inherit. As I said in my opening, you cannot separate the red, black, and green flag from the UNIA and Marcus Garvey. If we are representing the red, black, and green flag, we have an obligation to pay our dues to the organization. UNIA for the upkeep of the government. And by doing this, you will be able to receive your black government ID. And with that, you can come and meet the division president, President Ross Marvin, who is here. You can talk to him and help support the organization. Thank you again. And as we close in the UNIA, we say one God, one aim, one destiny. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Well back. That's greetings in our ancient tones language of Sabine. Assalamu alaikum. To all my Muslim brothers and sisters. Shalom. To all my Hebrew brothers and sisters. And I would like to thank the brothers and sisters of the Nation of Islam, Brother Stanley Muhammad, Brother Gerald Rose, for having this unity banquet, something that was so desperately needed. And allowing me up here to speak on behalf of Dr. Malachi York, his innocence and his freedom, and the great things and works that he has done all over the world, internationally. I'm not the spokesperson of the civilian foot soldier. And any means that the opportunity that I get to get out here to speak on his innocence and freedom fight, the freedom efforts, and the things that he taught, I'm doing it. That's what I do. Unity is something that's very important. And that's something Dr. York has been trying to accomplish, or actually has been accomplishing doing for over 30 years. I see so many of our brothers and sisters, but many brothers out on social media, badgering other groups and organizations, conscious community, so-called conscious community. Now, what these brothers and sisters are doing now is something that we did way back in the 60s and 70s. We did all that. Our elders, the ones that came before us, they did all that, and they got us moving. What these brothers and sisters have to realize is that whatever tools that our great leaders that came before us used to get us to where we at right now, that's what they had to work with. They had no access to internet, Wikipedia. They had no access to the computer at that day and time. So when a brother from Sudan, who was of Sudanese and Egyptian bloodline, a Nubian, named Deuce Ali, he met and taught and inspired Marcus Garvey. Actually, the red, black, and green flag was actually originally the Sudanese flag, the real Maki was black from Sudan. And it was black, red, and green. And eventually it became the red, black, and green flag. What Honorable Marcus Garvey had then. So the devil, they seen what Marcus Garvey was doing. He was pulling us away, leading us away from the hands of the devil. That's right. And the devil stepped in with black devils, white devils, that's right, and even Arab devils, European, Arab devils that came in and they destroyed the movement. Out of Marcus Garvey came the prophet Noble Ali, and someone that the devil really feared. he started waking us up. And then they went in, sabotaged, caused all kinds of chaos, confusion. This is what they COINTELPRO operating back in those days. And out of the Moorish Science Temple came the Nation of Islam by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was really the angel Elijah in human form. And he came and stood us up. He cleaned up those that was addicted to drugs, stopped women from prostituting, built his own nation, a nation of his own. The devil didn't like that. So they put in and they destroyed it. So now we have Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. Said, wait a minute. I'm not going to let y'all destroy Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Bill? And with the divine grace of the Most High, he saved the Nation of Islam. Held it in place. So, with that, our brother, Dr. Malachi Zerua, comes in and says, okay, he sees what the devil is doing. And he came in human form. The reason why they imprisoned Dr. Malachi Zerua, made up all kinds of heinous accusations, wrongly accused him, wrongly imprisoned, because he broke the spell of the Celtic wicked religions that was placed on our people that kept us divided and separated. So we have to ask ourselves, well, if they didn't allow us to go back to Africa in the Marcus Garvey time, if they didn't allow us to have our own nation and going to Noble Drew Ali in the Elijah Muhammad's time, you see what they did to Black Wall Street, you see what they did to Rosewood. Anything that we had, you see what they did with anything that we had that was independent and free for them, they destroyed it. So the next question is why? Why they won't let us go back to Africa, and then they won't let us have anything. They want us to be dependent on them. Not just slaves, because first of all, it wasn't a slave trade. It was a kidnapping, which is really, they were the real human traffickers. You see? So it wasn't really about them needing work or slaves to work. They needed our DNA. They needed our blood. They needed to get into our genes, our genetics. You see, because every 4 generations, if they don't mix in with us, they will die off. Because that's what you gotta understand is this Caucasian race, they are a vampire race. The whole story of Dracula is based off of them. Like Dracula cannot be in the sun. And this Dracula needs blood to survive. You see? And that blood that they needed was yours. So they came up with all types of ways to abuse us. Right? They came up with all types of ways to put us under religion. They took our culture, our stories of our ancestors out of what they did in ancient Egypt, right? Took it, corrupted, perverted, and then gave it back to us in the form of different religions, all right? So what Dr. York did was, at the time, he said, okay, he started teaching Amun Ma'at as far as back in 1962, right? And Amun Ma'at was dealing with the science of non-ether. And the non-ether are the forces that move things into existence. That's natural nature. So as animism, which is all things on earth is alive, have spirit and soul, and that we're in tune with nature, that's what we were as African people. And with the word Africa, that's not even us, because the word Africa is an Arabic word, Afrika, which means to divide. And that's what the European and Indo-Arabs did when they went into Africa. And they too enslaved us. Actually, they enslaved us first. And then because of the Caucasian race came and enslaved us. So what Dr. York did was he took us through and said, okay, you're not ready for that because we're still called religion. So I said, okay, let me go back and let me teach Islam. So he taught Islam and taught us where the origins of Islam came from. All right? And what we found out Exactly. We went back from Islam to Christianity. We went from Christianity to Judaism, right? Now we predate all these religions. We predate the Quran, we predate the Torah, we predate the Bible, right? We were the first original people on the planet Earth, and we didn't have a religion. We were in tune with nature, right? We were the beings that created this planet. We were the beings that created the universe. We did it in our etheric form, right? So in our etheric form, we are soul people. We have a soul. And the soul is the emotional part of you. And emotion just means energy and motion. So you are an etheric being or energy in a human form that has a soul. And they don't have that, you see? So they spend millions and millions of dollars, all types of abuse to steal your soul. You know what I'm saying? To get you worshiping their deities, in their image and after their likeness, which is the image of the beast. You see? They spend millions and millions of dollars to keep you out of the sun. Because you are soul people. That's what the word soul means. Soul. Solar system, solar plexus. You are sun people. So we are charged by the sun. And they spend millions of dollars to keep us out of the sun by having us working inside in false air conditions, fake air, artificial air, right? And they want to keep us close to them. But if we get in that sun that charges us up and makes us powerful, to take us away from the sun, they can overpower us. And then they overpower our genes. And how they do that is by making us hate ourselves. Making us hate our hair texture, our skin texture, our eye color, making us desire them. You see, all this is a plot to get inside your DNA because you are a divine being. That's why they're pushing gentrification. Gentrifying, genetics, genocide, genetic suicide. You see? So, Dr. Malakaziwa took us back and said, okay, we would predate religion. Who are we? We came from Africa. We came before Africa, we came out of the sea. How do we come out of the sea? The water. Well, if we look at your genetic structure, you see that you need water to survive. If you don't have water, you die. You need water. Your brain sits in water. When a woman is pregnant, the baby sits in water, right? Semen is a tadpole, is a fish. So we know that now. You can't deny those facts. And that's the truth. So what is this leading to? Well, it's leading to the fact that if we say that we are the original makers on this planet Earth, Father civilization, God of the universe, that means we started out there first. So our ancestors were star people. Now there is a quote in the Quran, and this is one of my favorite quotes right here. Quran 53:49. It says that he is the Lord of Sirius, right? This is, you can look it up, 43:49. He is the Lord of Sirius. Now, what does this mean? If you go to the Quran, Holy Quran, and you'll find out that there is also another quote that says the ones who are watched, the overseers, called Mujarreen in Arabic. The Mujarreen is in our language of Sabian is the Dada, upon Dada, in which the ancient Egyptians called it two. And the word two is the ancient Egyptian word for nature. The Dada were the overseers, the providers, and the creators of nature. These are our ancestors, right? So there's a concentrated effort for them to not have us to connect with our ancestors through our language, through our tones, which is Sabian. Now Sabian, or Musabatu, means those who are star people of the star system Sirius. That's what it means. And Sabian or the Seba people were of Sheba. Sheba, the queen of Sheba, who was also called Makeda in the Bible, and the Muslims call her Bilqis. In Egypt, her Egyptian name was Mat Kadare, and she was also had a throne name name accepted to her. But her name was Sheba. So we were Sheba's people. We created religion. Sheba's people. Sheba. Shabazz. Sheba. The mighty people. The people of the star system series. You see? They know this. And they try to hide this fact. And this is why I'm showing you how we all connected by faith, backed up by facts. Right? So they took Dr. York from revealing this knowledge and pulling us away from the Celtic religions, because the Celtic religions dealt with another race of extraterrestrials or reptilians who are feeding or who are using them for food. And that's what all the sacrifices is about. You see, when they sacrifice it to those gods, who are really the reptilians. You look this up. We got books back here to show you. But look it up. Look up cannibalism in the Bible and the Quran. And you start to see, wow. So, they didn't want you to know that. Right? So they went on ahead and they, it's so much that how they took Dr. York, and I'm going to read this, and I didn't realize there were children that were here. So I'm going to try to mute it out, but I was going to break down the conspiracy against the Dr. Ma'at Geb and how they wanted to convict him and put him in prison. Dr. Ma'at Geb, aka the White New York, the known author, songwriter, and naturalized citizen of Liberia, was announced a wrongful sentence. The man who made inspiring music, the author of captivating books, was announced 135 years in prison for falsely made crimes about his involvement in repulsive crimes. Dr. York has been wrongly accused, wrongly prosecuted, wrongly convicted, and wrongly imprisoned on Mann Act charges, established on June 25, 1910, the same charge given to Jack Johnson in the early 1900s, during the time when racism was at its all-time high. In addition, Dr. Ma'at Geb, falsely given the name the White York, was also charged with money structure. Here's the worst part of it. For each falsely made claim, there was no evidence at all that could be put in front of the jury. Furthermore, people who came to the court as victims later went on to admit that they were never they went on to admit that they were put under pressure to agree with the police, or else they would face severe circumstances. To put it in a nutshell, no evidence of trafficking, none whatsoever, or abuse. A number of claims of false statements made under pressure. It is quite evident for anyone who opens his or eyes to the case that it was a made-up and a copycat case from the 1990 film based on a true story that happened in the early 1980s called Indictment, the McMartin trial, which has striking similarities to the Dr. York case. Dr. Ma'at Geb was born on the continent of Africa, and he is incarcerated on 0 grounds. The federal investigator for the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, Jalene Ward, who was under the direct orders of then Director FBI Robert Mueller, initially stated she had no evidence that Dr. York transported any minors or for the purpose of abuse. She also conducted interviews with the alleged victim without the presence of audio or video recording, or most importantly, without the presence of the children's parents. Attorney Edward Garland, who at the time questioned her, processed as proper conduct in the child interview. It is important to make sure that the children are not influenced by subjective processes. She admits not having adequate training to child abuse protocols being utilized throughout the state of Georgia by the Department of Family and Children's Service to ensure accuracy and uninfluenced interviews of child abuse victims. She even avoided the Department of Family and Children's Services, DFACS, personally being involved in the interview of children or employing any of their procedures in obtaining information. According to the transcripts that have been suspiciously sealed for 15 years, page 79 of Dr. York, falsely known as the White York, arraignment in the United States District Court, Middle District of Georgia, Macon Division, Attorney Edward Garland, who represented Dr. York, questioned Jolene Ward about having any witnesses that said Dr. York transported children for the purpose of abuse. She said no. Then he asked the question, all right, now in connection with the travel for the purpose of sexually abusing minors, do you have witnesses who say that? Her answer, no. Her answer, the witness said, she says, well, the witness that say that? He said yes. She said no. Later, the only witness that did corroborate as evidence for Jolene Ward was a witness named Habiba Washington. That on April 23rd, 2004, Habiba Washington stated in her affidavit that she had not been touched, molested, nor had she been told by Dr. York to structure money. She states the following: Malachi York has never done any deposit with us. I do not know if he knew that we were breaking down deposits. He never told me, to my knowledge, and anyone else, not to deposit more than $10,000 at a time. She says, I was never abused by Dr. Malachi York. This is an affidavit signed and sworn in front of the notary, Dwight Johnson, the DeKalb County GA notary public. She has recorded a video affidavit still live on YouTube, where she states Jacob York convinced her and others to create claims against Dr. York. Initially, when this information was brought to the courts during the trial in 2004, Judge Ashley Royal would not allow the testimony of first-hand witnesses to what was said to be conspiracy by Jacob York to testify. According to the article in the Associated Press, published trial on January 16, 2004, 5 of the alleged victims named in the indictment claim they had never been abused. The article states 5 young women that Colby and Malachi York is charged with abusing children told a federal judge Friday that York never touched them. 3 of the 5 women testified that federal agents tried to pressure them into saying York abused them. After the FBI raided the Georgia land of the then called United Wapi Nation in May 2002, it seemed like they were trying to get me to say something. It seemed like they were trying to get me to say something that didn't happen, said a 20-year-old woman. These were adults. York is charged with abuse during a 1996 trip to Disney World. And it was like the agents got mad because I wasn't saying what she wanted. This is the young girl saying this. According to a report of Macon Telegraph published on July 15, 2009, documents were filed July 2, 2009. But Dr. York alleged the FBI agents threatened to force witnesses to testify against him and commit perjury. He also alleged the prosecutors alleged allegations of pornographic tapes of York abusing minors without any tangible proof of the tapes existed to taint the jury. There was no evidence, no tapes, no video, no DNA, nothing like that. According to the Macon Telegraph, it further states that motion included affidavits of several of York's alleged victims, in which the victims now say York never abused them. But they say they were threatened by FBI agents to make false statements. One of the alleged victims says she was at school when she was taken to counseling office to be questioned about York, according to the court records. I told them what they wanted to hear because I felt like I would go to jail if I didn't go along what they were saying. The alleged victim said, according to the court records, another alleged victim swore in an affidavit that the FBI agent told him that if he cooperated and made certain statements, he can get his mother out of prison. The alleged victim still testified he was never abused, according to the records. Another alleged victim said he was stripped from his family and taken to a small house in Millersville without his parents' consent after being interviewed by the FBI. And he says, I was out of my mind and guns were pointed at me. I thought I was going to die and I told him anything. And the alleged victim said, according to the records. So, like I said, the time is short, but there's so much more to this conspiracy in the case against Dr. York and his involvement. So, but if you like to know more about Dr. York in the case, you can go to freedryork.com and get more on the case. And if you could also, if you'd like to help in the media campaign, you can go to 1,000 Acts of Kindness, unbookroom.com, unwbookroom.com. And so Dr. York he's innocent, and we stand by that facts. And Dr. York has done many great, not just write over a lot of books, but a lot of humanitarian contributions we still continue today. In helping out building schools in Liberia, donating clothes in Ghana, and here locally in Atlanta, Georgia, and all over the world. And you can see those things in those works of Dr. York, humanitarian works on Facebook. That's Dr. York, the humanitarian contributions. So I thank you, brothers and sisters.
Thank you, sir.
And if you want more information, I'll be at the table back here.
What's going on, family? Peace and love. How y'all feel?
Fine, sir.
So in New Era, we do a little call and response, to get the energy levels up. So I'm gonna ask y'all how y'all feel. Y'all gonna say powerful, but you're not just gonna say it. You're gonna yell it and exclaim it and say it with passion. All right? How y'all feel? How y'all feel? How y'all feel? How y'all feel? All power to the people. All power to the people. All power to the people. All power to you. All power to you. Peace and love, family. Brother Gerald has introduced me. My name is Brother Judge. I first want to say peace and love to the mosque here at Mosque 15B. To all the Muslims, I say Assalamu Alaikum. To the Hebrews, I say Shalom. To the Sabians, I say Hotep. And Black laws to all black people. I am the president of New Era Atlanta. We are the Atlanta division of New Era Nation. Our first chapter is in Detroit. That's the inception of the New Era movement. We have chapters in Chicago, Cleveland, Ohio. We have chapters in Las Vegas, Miami, DC, all over the nation. And our main goals and objectives is to really unify our people and unify some organizers to come up with practical and pragmatic solutions to our problems. See, the one thing that we don't ever want to do is give our people solutions that are not practical, that are fantastic, but that they have to do all this and that, all these prerequisites. We want to come up with something that the average man on the street can do today to cause and affect change in his community. That's what we believe in. So every program that we have, from our mentorship program, from our current program that we're doing right now in regards to 16 weeks going to different communities, it's called our Hood to Hood program. It's going on all around the country right now, in Detroit, Chicago, and all of our chapters. We go to different communities, we pick up trash, we pass out information. We have our sound system with us and we're playing music. It's like a mobile block party. That's a way that we can reach our people because we know we're a people's spirit of music. So we play the music and we play we emanate the good vibrations and we draw in the people, mainly the youth, because with our movement, we really feel that the youth are the cornerstones to our liberation, to our freedom and empowerment. So I'm not going to spend too long on our organization. We feel that New Era is the people's movement, and it is youth-led, and it is indeed youth-powered. But we embrace and we accept all ages and all genders. You know, this isn't a boys club. This is most definitely, we have the co-founders and stuff. You know, so we definitely want to empower the black woman of America as well as the black child of America. And, something that we actually just did recently was come up with some street codes to help protect the black woman and the black child, because there's been a lot of rapings and a lot of kidnappings that's going on. We know that here in Georgia, sex trafficking is a very prominent business. So we, as the men, primarily need to step up and take our place as the rightful rulers of our community and protect our system and do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to make sure that our future, which is the youth, make sure that they're empowered, and make sure that the portal to this world, which is the black woman, make sure that she's empowered. So, something I want to touch on as far as the unity aspect, because that's why we're all here, is to discuss unity, is sort of a roadmap to unity. You know, all the speakers have come up and talked about their movements and tied it in, correlated in with unity, but I feel that we need an actual guide to unity, because we'll cover all the steps, but then we'll get to a certain step and everything will fall apart. So something I want to touch on real quick is what I've developed, which is the roadmap to unity, which is step number 1, which is coming around a commonality or common goal. So what do we all have in common? What do the Moors have in common with the Sandians? What do the Muslims have in common with the UNIA New Era? We all want the empowerment of our people, of melanated people, of melanated youth, am I correct? So since we know that we want the empowerment of melanated youth and melanated people, we understand that common goal. So that's something we can come around on. Second step is to organize plan. So coming to meetings like this and even turning off the cameras and going to the back room and really coming up with real solutions and real plans to empower our people, whether it's coming up with different solutions for protecting our women, for mentoring the children, for giving them opportunities for employment. And the third step after that is the actual execution. See, a lot of us in the conscious community, we get stuck on the second part. So you want to talk all day and night about what we need to do, but there's so few people that's ready and willing to get up and execute. We need to get up and make it happen. We need to get up and stop complaining and stop whining and stop talking and get up and make it happen in our community. And the fourth step, which is, in my opinion, even more important than the execution, is the reflection piece. Because we can be involved in the work, and all of us, we've all coalesced and come together, and we're organized now, we're unified. But this group, or this man feels like his efforts are more important. And this man feels like his efforts are more important. And this sister feels like her efforts are more important. No, you need to come back and reflect each and every day, and remember why you even had to unify in the first place. Racism, Jim Crow, disenfranchisement. We lose sight of all of that based on our ego, based on our emotions. So when we reflect on why we unified in the first place, when we look back and see, okay, this is why I'm here. Always remember why you were here. Remember why you came in this room to begin with. So we won't have to worry about egos and back talking and slandering and backbiting. I feel that that has helped me in my mission with New Era, because when we first started in July 21st, 2017 here in Atlanta, there were over 30 of us. And unfortunately, I'm the only original member of the organization left because we didn't reflect. We didn't remember why we came to the table in the first place. Well, it's easy to plan, it's easy to execute, but then you lose sight of that based on, like I said, your emotions and your ego, or we let life get in the way. So that's why I believe that a big part of our unity, on top of coming together around a common goal and organizing and planning and executing, is the reflection, so that we know. And even if you don't care about the ego and all that, keep in mind the youth. I'm looking at beautiful black babies. That's enough for me personally. Yeah. To keep fighting and to keep the goal ahead. I don't care what flag you wear. I don't care who God you serve. I don't care where you come from. I don't care, what color scarf you got on your head or around your ankles. All I want to know is, are you ready to defend and empower the black community? That's all I want to know. And if you're for black people, melanated people, Moorish people, whatever title you want to use, if you're for the advancement of our people, if you're for the empowerment of our youth, I'm ready to stand with you. I don't care what you got on. I might put it on too. Everybody look good. I'm looking like, man, y'all. That brother said, I'm you on this record. I'm too casual, you know. But I'm not gonna be up here too long. I just want to give a shout out to Brother Ras Marvin from UNIA Division 421, who I'm also a member of as well. I want to give special recognition to Brother Stanley for being the head of being an excellent representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who has been a very, very powerful influence in my life.
Yes.
I came into contact to Minister Farrakhan through his student, who I call the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul-Mahal.
All right.
And from the student, I learned about the teacher. And once I learned about the teacher, I took his teachings, I applied them to my life, and I'm becoming a better person. But the one lesson that I always learned from Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is to always maintain the disposition of a student. So even though I may be the president of this and all that, titles don't matter. I'm a student first. I'm willing to learn from Minister Farrakhan. I'm willing to learn from the brothers from the Moorish Scientific. I'm willing to learn from the sisters. I'm willing to learn from anybody who has good game and is willing to drop jewels for our people. So I love y'all. I'm honored to be here. And I just want y'all to understand that we will be empowered. We will have freedom. We will have justice. We will have equality. But the one thing that we must understand is with rights. See, the one thing in the new era that we have completely done away with is this concept of rights. We don't believe in rights anymore. We believe in power. Because whoever's in power determines those who have the rights. That's right. We want the ability to control our own communities, the ability to defend our own communities, and the ability to provide for our own communities. And not have to be dependent upon somebody else downtown somewhere. They taking their time with it. And when they do give us what we're looking for, it's subpar and substandard. We as black people have it within ourselves, within this very room today, to give us what we need, and it'll be at the best standard that we can provide, because we have to love our people in our hearts. And we have the truth, which is black love, black unity, black power. So as I close out life, y'all stand up for me real quick. You can't stand up, that's all right. We stand in the spirit. So what we do in New Era, we have our mantra. This is what we say before and after all of our programs and all of our events. And this is to really center us and get us back into our mind frame. So repeat after me, right fist to the sky. One man. One man. One man. One man. One woman. One woman. One woman. One woman. One child. One child. One child. One child. One community at a time. 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 Until we are one. Until we are one. Right now we are one. Right now we are one. United race. United race. United race. United race. A mighty race. A mighty race. A mighty race. A mighty race. All power to the people. All power to the people. All powers in the people. All powers in the people. All power to the youth. All power to the youth. Peace out, some legend.
حي على الصلاة الله أكبر